The moon appears, and when the moon is young, the divine wisdom has ordained that we must live young, we must feel young, we must act with strength. We must always make our greatest effort at the beginning of the lunar month in whatever work we do. This includes, for those of you who don't have a baby and who want a baby, this includes the efforts of those who are childless and who would like to be blessed by Allah with a baby. It is for this reason that Allah has placed the long surahs at the beginning of the Qur'an. And then as the month progresses, the surahs become shorter and shorter until when the month is coming to an end. And when the moon has grown old, we are tired. And Allah gives us short surahs which hardly tax our energy. As we recite the Qur'an daily, therefore, we live in harmony with lunar time. Those who do not live in harmony with lunar time will pay a terrible price for their neglect of living with the moon. What is that price? Now we turn to an extremely important prophecy of Nabi Muhammad, Allah's blessing be upon him. And it is an ominous prophecy. He said, and the hadith is in Sahih Bukhari, and it is narrated by Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of Allah said that the last hour will not come until time moves faster and yet faster. A whole year will pass like a month. A whole month will pass and it will seem like just a week. A whole week will pass and it will seem like just a day. And a whole day will pass like an hour, and a whole hour will pass like the amount of time it takes to kindle the fire. Hadith of Sahih Bukhari. We invite you to think in order to realize the ominous implications of this prophecy of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that time would move faster and yet faster. Our response from Islamic eschatology is to explain that this prophecy actually is the success, listen carefully, of Dajjal's attack on the system of time ordained by Allah Most High. Other than innocent children or those who live a life disconnected from the world, almost everybody in the world today is experiencing time moving faster and yet faster. Yet the reality is that time is not moving faster at all. Rather, it is the human heart which is perceiving time moving faster. We wrote the book, the Qur'an and the Moon, to warn those who are experiencing time moving faster and yet faster, that it is doing so because their hearts have become disconnected from the system of time which Allah has given for His creation. And this has happened precisely because of Dajjal's attack on that system of time. Today we want to remind you that the moon is centrally located in that system of time which was created by Allah. Here is the proof. Surah to Yunus, which is the 10th surah, and this is the 5th verse. And we'll have to come back again and again to Surah to Yunus, verse number 5. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم هو الذي جعل الشمس ضياء والقمر نورا وقدره منازل لتعلموا عدد السنين والحساب ما خلق الله ذلك إلا بالحق يفصل الآيات لقوم يعلمون. He it is who has caused the sun to be a source of radiant light, and with that light the moon is illumined, and he has ordained stages of growth and stages of decline of the moon, so that you might have a system of time with which to compute the years, to count the years, and to compute time. None of this has Allah created without truth and inner truth. Clearly does He spell out His messages for people of insight, unless the human heart beats in harmony with the system of time in Allah's creation, it will not be Salim. What is Salim? Salim is to be sound and healthy. The further implication is that such a heart will experience difficulty in receiving nur from Allah. Nur is light. And would experience difficulty in getting shifa. Shifa, healing. Indeed, this is so important that the Qur'an has declared that nothing will help you on Judgment Day. Nothing will help you on Judgment Day. Nothing will help you on Judgment Day other than a heart which is salim, which is sound and healthy. يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. On Judgment Day, neither your wealth nor your children can help you in any way. Rather, the only thing that will help when we stand before Allah is a heart which is salim, a heart which is sound and healthy. Now then, a heart is not salim when it is in a state of disharmony with the rest of Allah's creation, when it is not beating in harmony with the system of time ordained by Allah for His creation. That heart is not salim. It's like your engine of your motor car, which is out of tune. You stay with that engine, the performance will continue to decline and decline until one day the car won't work. Similarly, with a heart which is not salim, it will continue to decline and decline and decline and decline until one day you're just like the sheep and the cattle and the goats and the camel. If after experiencing time moving faster and yet faster, you now recite the Qur'an with the methodology as taught in my book, The Qur'an and the Moon, and then you no longer experience time moving faster and faster, what would be the implication? It would be that your heart would have been restored to a state of harmony with the system of time in Allah's creation. The other implication would be that the knowledge of this subject which is presented in that book would be validated. The division of the Qur'an as ajza for daily recitation over a period of 1 month was not done haphazardly. The Qur'an and the Moon has presented ample evidence which confirms that the recitation of the Qur'an in accordance with the correct ajza would restore our hearts to a state of harmony with the moon, and thus to the system of time ordained by Allah Most High for mankind. We have offered views concerning the synchrony which exists between the recitation of the Azhar of the Qur'an over a period of one lunar month on the one hand, and the passage on the other of the different stages in the movement of time in the divinely ordered system of time. Now then, globalization is not taking place in the modern world by accident. Islamic eschatology it is which explains that Dajjal, the false messiah, needs to bring all of mankind into one global melting pot, one global society. It will be a society in political, in economic, in monetary submission to him, in order for him to realize his objective of ruling the world from Jerusalem. We have explained this subject in books of ours such as Jerusalem in the Qur'an, explaining Israel's mysterious imperial agenda, Dajjal, the Qur'an, and Awwal al-Zaman. Perhaps the most difficult and frustrating thing in Allah's creation that Dajjal has ever encountered in his quest to build a single, global, interconnected society which would operate like clockwork, like the trains in Switzerland. This biggest problem he has is the divinely calibrated system of time that Allah has given us, which is imprecise. I hope you don't object to my use of the word imprecise. I don't mean anything to be negative. What I mean by imprecise is that it cannot be universally applied. Why? In the system of time which Allah has given, the world in our vicinity in which we live, we have to wait until the 29th day of the month has ended, the lunar month. Until the 29th day of ended, before we can know whether the month will end or will continue for one more day. Can you universalize such a system of time? Impossible. And yet, this is the system of time given in the Qur'an. And this is the system of time given by Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, who raised his hands like this. He said, we are a people who cannot read and could not write. He said, the month for us is this, and then this, and then this. 30 days. He had difficulties with his wives. Anybody who has more than one wife would know that you have difficulties with your wives. And his difficulties were so great that he decided once to stay away from all his wives for 1 month. 1 whole month. So at the end of the 29th day, he came out of seclusion, of khalwa. And he came to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. She said, why have you come? The month has not yet ended. This is Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. Why have you come? The month has not ended. He said, Aisha, sometime the month has 29 days and sometime 30 days. And so now we know the system of time which has come from Allah and which has come from Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is a system of time in which a month can have 29 days or 30 days, and you will not know whether it will have 29 or 30 days until the 29th day has ended. This system of time is imprecise, and therefore it cannot be universalized. Dajjal cannot establish a global society that operates like clockwork with this system of time. He needs to get all of mankind to abandon this system of time so that he can establish that global society. Will he succeed in getting the followers of Muhammad ﷺ to abandon that system of time? This is what Yunus, verse 5 said, listen to it again. He it is who has made the sun a source of radiant light, and with that light the moon is illumined, and he has ordained stages of growth and of decline for the moon, so that you might have a system of time with which to compute time and compute